What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all the Dexter series. There's 4 spin-offs we have. We have Dexter, the OG, Original Sin, we have New Blood, and we have Resurrection. So I'm going to be getting into it. All right, so spoiler alerts ahead. Spoiler alerts ahead. Right up there, spoiler alerts ahead. I said it 3 times. 3 is the magic number. Spot number 4, I'm going to give it to Dexter New Blood. I am not saying that Dexter New Blood is bad by any stretch of the measure. Actually, at first, I didn't like it as much as I do now after watching Resurrection, because Dexter New Blood has that vibe, like that Christmassy, small village type vibe that we all kind of low-key would want in our busy life. It just like, it's kind of wholesome, right? Like everyone knows each other. The only con to that is, though, it doesn't really pick up until like half the season into it. And guess what? Half the season into it is like the half season into it, and there's only 1 season, right? So they kind of, they didn't really rush anything. The ending, was a lot. Like, right, he killed the cop. He asked Harry to shoot him. Harry shoots him, whatever. But the big thing, obviously, Dexter, besides Dexter being shot, is that Harry comes back into the picture and all that stuff. So I could really appreciate New Blood. But I said it before, and I'll say it again. I do think Dexter New Blood was just a setup for Resurrection. I think they always had that mindset of, oh, hey, we're going to do something pretty big, and it's going to be Resurrection. So that's why I'm going to have to give spot number 4. I really thought about putting it higher, but I just think the other arguments I have for the other ones is better. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah, they're just better. So let's just get right into that. Spot number 3, I'm going to give it to Original Sin. Okay, so Original Sin did have some cons. I'm not going to lie. Like, Harry flashbacks, there's like about 1 million of them per episode. Like, okay, bro, we get it. Like, you kind of messed up. You were married. You sleep with Lauren Moser, all this other kind of stuff. We kind of get it. Dexter and Brian end up in the container because the original show told us that. Now, granted, these kids like look like way older than what the other show predicted. They look like they're almost in their teens, like way older than freaking how it's originally supposed to be. But my thing is, though, what's cool about Original Sin, y'all know I love my backstories, and it answers a lot of questions that the original show doesn't tell us. And that's okay. A lot of shows or movies tend to do that. Big example off the top of my head is Star Wars. Star Wars, the original 3, you didn't know who Anakin was until you watched the prequels, hence the term prequel, right? Same thing, Original Sin. That's the whole point of it, to answer a lot of questions. What aggravates me is that they canceled making it season 2. I know, like, I was reading my comments, there was big debate on whether or not there should be a season 2 or not. A lot of people are fine with just 1 season because of the fact that Batista dies in Resurrection. Okay, fair, I get that. But Batista, it's not about Batista. It's about Michael C. Hall and how he becomes essentially a psychopath, and how essentially he becomes a serial killer because Harry trained him to be one, and because of the fact that he's trying to control his anger and try to take out the bad guys, right? It was never about Batista. Batista's a main character, don't get me wrong, but it's not all about Batista. So going back to my original point, I just simply think that Original Sin Season 2 would answer a lot of questions we have left, like how did the blood slides come about? How does Sergeant Dokes become a thing? Like, we pick up in the first episode of Dexter, the OG show, like, Sergeant Dokes finally be a creep. Like, all right, bro just strolled in. He's like, yep, no, that's a creep job. I'd rather prefer to see, like, how the relationship unfolds, because I wonder if it actually starts off pretty well, and then Dexter does some creepy shit, and next thing you know, Dokes is like, red flag left and right. I don't know. So I really hope, like, obviously they got a lot of people sign a petition. I really wish, like, it was enough to push it. I don't know if it is. Only time will tell. But nevertheless, though, I just think, Original Sin does deserve another season. But regardless, though, I'm putting that spot 3 just solely because of the big pro of the backstory. Again, I get it. Not everything needs a backstory. I totally understand that. But for how big Dexter is and for how many spinoffs they were making, like, it kind of deserves it. Heck, people are still making Dokes memes. I totally get it. Like, some movies and shows, like backstories, it's not necessary because it's not good, whatever the scenario is. I just think Original Sin is just a little bit better than New Blood. I'm not saying it's hugely better. I just think it's a little bit better. So let's get into spot number 2. I'm going to have to give it to Resurrection. It was very tough, honestly, because so at first I love Resurrection watching it, right? Then towards the end, especially the ending, I liked, but I was kind of hoping for a different ending, to be honest. Maybe there'll be a second season. If there's a second season, that'd be sick. My thing is with Resurrection, I'm not saying the ending was a letdown like the OG show ending. Like, that was way different, right? It's not Game of Thrones bad either way, but still pretty, like, low. I just was hoping for something better. Like, either Dexter gets caught, Dexter gets killed, or, like, like more of the story is spilled rather than just like, oh, Dexter escapes again, which is cool. I mean, I like Homeboy. I like Michael C. Hall. He's the best. But yeah, of course, because, you know, him and I hang out so much. But you know what I mean, though? Like, I just think Resurrection deserves a little bit different ending. But again, maybe there'll be a season 2. Like, it'd be kind of cool to see them in court or something like that. Like, you know, I don't know. It'd just be cool to see like them battle in court and Dexter is the defendant. And does he win? Does he not win? I don't know. Because honestly, you remember there was like a part people were like liking the Bay Harbor Butcher in the OG show. Like, it's kind of wild, but still though, like he was a vigilante essentially, killing the bad guys, right? Focusing on the bad guys. Resurrection at spot 2 because obviously there's a lot unfold. Obviously we have Batista gets killed. Obviously we know, you know, Prater. Prater is actually a really, really good like villain, if you will, in Dexter series. Honestly, I think I need to make a quick like TikTok on the top 5 villains. My point is that I think Prater, in my opinion, is up there. Like, I mean, I do think he's like right next to the Trinity Killer because Prater's not a killer. Well, not to the end, obviously. I just think Prater, there's just, it's the wisdom, man. It's like the wisdom, how he talks, and like you could tell he's a psychopath. You could tell he's crazy, he's unhinged, but in like, it's kind of funny, honestly, for how much he's unhinged, how much he gets off on this stuff. So I don't know. I kind of like him for how he is. I mean, bro literally came out with the serial killer think tank. Like, it's kind of wild. So I just think he deserves to be up there. But then I also think that Resurrection had a lot of good like a lot of good pros. Like it was fast paced. Killers were kind of cool. Like how that serial killer like think tank thing was kind of smart. They did show a lot of Harry in Resurrection, which was kind of interesting because they didn't even show, I mean, heck, in the whole OG show, for how many seasons it has, like, I feel like it's about the same amount of Harrys you saw in that as the same Resurrection, which is kind of wild. Was a cool callback to pull Brian Moser into it. Kudos to that. I thought that was kind of nifty. I didn't think they would do something like that, but I'm glad they did. The big con to me, again, was the ending. And I mean, obviously, besides the Harry thing, like those were some of the big cons for me. If you guys have any different cons, put them in the comments below. I just simply think I almost didn't want to put Resurrection as high as I did. I did it though because I think the pros for Resurrection just outweigh Original Sin and New Blood by a little bit. I'm not saying by a lot, by a little bit. If a sleeky rating, I gave, you know, New Blood an 8.8 and I gave Original Sin an 8.9. Like, quite literally, I would put Resurrections in 9.0. Like, it would only be by a little bit, only because, yeah, like Batista knows finally that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. He gets off. Like, he has, is it proper closure? No, but it's some type of closure, right? That was his whole mission to go there. They had some pretty cool callbacks. They had some pretty cool like moments talking about the past. And I just like those little Easter eggs they put in there with that kind of stuff, right? Like where they have Lieutenant Captain Quinn, whatever, call. You know, Masuka has a little moment in there. The old OG blood slides get shown. And just, they even like have like a cool, like the serial killer room with all the different like serial killers. And they actually make callbacks to real serial killers like John Wayne Gacy, Ted Bundy, all that kind of stuff. I just think that's super cool how Prater has possession of all this stuff. Like certain callbacks like that, I just find really interesting. If I really went in detail for each one, this would be like an 80-minute video. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to keep it short. So I'm going to end it there. But regardless, though, that's why I just think Resurrection deserves like a little bit higher than those. But then the biggest one, number 1, I'm going to obviously give it to the OG series. I understand the ending was kind of rubbish. I get that. But here's my thing, though. If we always judge the ending based like for the whole show, it's going to be a catastrophe, because I feel like a lot of shows recently, like Dexter, it's kind of recent, but you get what I mean, like Dexter, Game of Thrones, right? Those kind of endings, if they're kind of mid, I mean, look at Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones is still known as one of the best TV shows to date, but no one can get over the ending, which is fair. I'll give you that. But it's one of those things where it literally is like a huge scar on them, to the point where it's like, do you really want to put them in the top 10? I think so. I think you would. But nevertheless, though, I'm going to give OG number 1, just simply because of the big pros. Like, it obviously starts off the show. All the memes come out of the OG series. Like, let's be honest here. No one's using memes to make it from Resurrection, New Blood, whatever. All of them are coming from the old show. And the character development is crazy for Michael C. Hall throughout the show. I mean, bro has ups and downs. Deb finds out he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Brian Moser, his brother, we get introduced to him. Sergeant Oaks, the big meme, the hilarious guy, the sergeant that he is. He's smart, he's strong, he's beefcaked, like all this kind of stuff. We get so much in the show. Dexter is 8 seasons long. So obviously they have way more room to work with. I totally get that. So I understand that the character development and whatnot is going to be way bigger. But again, guys, like, how could you put like a spinoff or a mini series as they call them, which I honestly think they're just interchangeable. Like to say it's a mini series, but to say it's a spinoff, I mean, I feel like it's quite literally the same thing. They're just trying to be fancy with it. But regardless, going back to it, how could you put like a spinoff or a mini series, whatever you want to call it, above like the OG show? Like, I get it, you probably could, but the character development stuff is just not remotely going to be the same. I was talking to a friend last night about that. I feel like with newer shows coming out, I get it, spinoffs are just designed to answer some of the questions or whatever, but it sucks because the problem with spinoffs is, and I usually don't have a problem with them being just one season, but they're always like only one season. Like very rarely do you see like they're plus one seasons. And if I can't think of a show right now, but if you guys think of one, put it in the comments below. I just simply think that with some of these shows, that when they only make miniseries or spinoffs, it's only one season, which is fine. Usually they're good. It's just sometimes it sucks because it left questions without answers. The character development is just not always there because you're trying to rush it into something, right? It's like when you look at movies, right? We were just talking about if you have like a 2.5 hour movie, like the amount of character development you could do. But if you do some type of big movie, you hype it up. You hype it up before people go see it, and it's only an hour and a half long. You have very little time to combine and make something happen. Is it possible? Obviously, we've seen it before. But like I just did a video on Sinners. Sinners was like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. That was plenty of time, and they actually did a phenomenal job, like with the character development, whatever. So obviously, like the OG show, like Dexter, they're gonna have the character development. They're gonna have all the different types of villains. You're gonna have Dexter having his high moments, his low moments. You're gonna have like stuff finding out, like, oh, Deb finds out that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Dokes knows he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Lundy, I'm pretty sure he knew he was a Bay Harbor Butcher, but he was a necessary evil, if you will. But I just think the OG show Dexter is always going to be on top. Like, there's just no way. I get it. The ending was not great. I totally understand that. But to say the whole show is crap because the ending is kind of wild, just because of a couple bad episodes or whatever, to say the whole 8 series was trash compared to the rest, I think is kind of wild to do. Because again, like not even just looking at the fact that it's 1 season versus 8 seasons, you're talking about like the whole plot, the whole point of the show, right? Like if we didn't have the OG Dexter, if Dexter didn't start popping off again recently, like I saw this back in high school, right? It aired 2006 to 2013. Like I saw this back in high school. So you're telling me that it started booming again to the point where they would make spinoffs. They weren't going to make spinoffs only until it became super popular again. So like it was popular, it died, it got popular again. I just saw a TikTok clip where like Bryan Cranston won the award over Michael C. Hall for the show and stuff like that, which Breaking Bad is a fantastic show, don't get me wrong. But my point is that Michael C. Hall was up there numerous times nominated to win actor because of the fact of Dexter. And then eventually the show died off, and then it boomed back up to the point where they made 3 spinoffs. Not just 1, not just 2, 3 freaking spinoffs. So I just think to not give Dexter, the OG show, the #1 spot is kind of crazy. But nevertheless, guys, that's going to be it. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. Make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button depending on which platform you're watching on. I don't know. But nevertheless, guys, I'm out. I'll see you.